Hello and welcome to this lesson, which is going to be all about string bending. So today we're going to go through what some of the most common types of bends you're likely to encounter in your playing are, what they're called, what they sound like, and then we're going to go into the technique of how we actually play these bends and how we can get the maximum amount of strength out of our hand to make these bends that much easier. So before we do get into all that, the most important thing that I want you to take away from this about bends is that I want you to think about what note you're bending up to, okay? It's all about what target note you're trying to hit. What we don't want is if you're taking a solo, whether it's an improvisation or someone else's solo that you're learning, we don't think, okay, I'm going to do a bend on this string, and then we just pull on the string and hope for the best. No. What we're always going to do is pick a specific target note that we're trying to reach, and then we're going to bend the string until we reach that target note. So for instance, I could be taking some wee solo and it could be something like this. So my target note there was this note. If I was to do that same little noodling around thing again, but I don't bother trying to hit that specific target note, it just doesn't sound as good. So we need to really focus in on what note we're trying to bend up to and then really nail getting to that pitch. So there's no real rule around exactly what note we should be trying to get to. You can bend a string up to whatever note you want to. The only limitations you have really are how strong your hand is and how durable your strings are. But we are going to focus on the main two you'll likely come across. That's whole step bends and half step bends. So if we're doing a whole step bend, that just means we're going to bend the string so that the pitch increases by a whole step, which is just 2 frets. Or it could also be called a tone. So say this is the pitch that we're wanting to reach. There would be 2 frets below that and bend up to that pitch. And you can do that anywhere you want. Say I was on the B string at the 8th fret and I was wanting to do a full step bend. That would mean I'm going to bend up to the same pitch as the 10th fret. So there's my pitch. And that's me bending up to it. A half step bend just means we're going to bend our string so that the pitch increases by a half step or 1 fret. So say this was the pitch I wanted to reach. Just need to go back a fret and bend up to that. And again, you could do this anywhere you want. So that's my pitch. There's me bending up my half step. Got a little tip for you. If your ear isn't very well developed yet and you can't quite tell if you're actually bending a pitch or if you're bending in or out of tune, what you can do, get a guitar tuner. I've got a clip-on one here. Doesn't really matter what kind of guitar tuner you use. It could be a pedal or a clip-on. Anything's fine. We're going to stick it on our guitar or plug it in or whatever you've got. And then when we turn it on, we can use the tuner to actually tell us if we're playing something up to pitch or not. So that's me trying to do a full step bend there, going up to the note A. And we can use that tuner as a visual cue to see if we're actually in tune or not. This time I'm going to do a half step bend, so we'll go from the note B up to the note C. There we go. And I can use that visual cue from the tuner to tell me if my bend is in tune or not. Now there's just 2 more things that we need to look at before we can really dive into the technique of this. We still need to look at pre-bends and releases. So a pre-bend just means we're going to bend the string up before we actually play the note. So say if I was to take that as an example where I'm doing a whole step bend, this is the pitch I'm looking for. So I would bend it up, that whole step, before actually playing the string, and then I would play it. A release just means that after we've played a note on a bent string, we just bring it back down to the note's normal pitch. And you could either do a pre-bend with a release, or you could do a regular bend with a release. Depends on the context of whatever song or solo you're playing. Now let's look at the technique of how we'll actually bend strings. Now start off by saying you can either bend a string up towards the sky, or we can bend a string down towards the floor. It's not going to make any difference to the pitch. In either case, you're stretching the string, so the pitch is always going to go up. As a general rule, I like to bend the top three strings, so that's the high E, B and G string, towards the sky, and then the bottom three strings, so that's the low E, A and D string, towards the floor. Just because you only have so much fretboard space, and you can't exactly bend down towards the floor on the high E string, because you would just pull the string right off the fretboard. So, we'll start off with a whole step bend. I'm going to put my third finger on the 15th fret of the B string. We're going to bend this note up a whole step. So we're going to bend it up as if we're reaching the pitch of the 17th fret. So that's our pitch. So what I want you to do is, as well as having your third finger on the 15th fret, you're going to put your second and first finger down on the fretboard on that same string, and try and have your three fingers touching each other. That means that these two fingers are going to help your third finger push the string up as far as we need to go to get up that full tone. Now with our thumb, we want our thumb to be over the top of the neck of the guitar. Now some people say that's not good technique. I've got a full video on my channel that goes in detail into thumb technique and where you should and shouldn't place it. So I'm not going to go into any details in this video, but short version, we want our thumb over the top because that's going to provide downward pressure on the neck, which is going to counterbalance with our fingers producing upward pressure on the neck as we push the string up. So we'll play the string as we normally would, and then we're going to push that string up until we get to our desired pitch. And we don't want to let any of these fingers lift off and try and play with just one finger, because if we do that, we're not going to have enough strength. And the same, we don't want our thumb to come off the neck either, because again, that's going to stop us from having enough strength to actually get the string all the way up. If we were doing a semitone bend or a half step bend, the technique itself is the exact same. We just need to not bend the string up quite as far because we're only going up one fret. So I'm going to go to the 14th fret on the high E string, and I'm going to bend up a half step, so I'm going up to the 15th fret in pitch, which would be this. Right, so if I bend up to that pitch, and again, doing all the same things, we're keeping three fingers down, keeping them tight together, and keeping our thumb over the top of the neck. Now what you can do to practice your bends is just pick random frets on the fretboard on any string you want, and say, right, this is the pitch I'm going to bend up to, and then either move your fingers back one fret if you're going to try and do a half step bend, or 2 frets if you're going to do a whole step bend. And then just bend up to that note. Do that all over the place in loads of different strings. And just practice it like that. Little warning though, do give yourself plenty of rest. If you thought your fingers hurt when you first tried playing guitar, practicing bends is going to put you in a whole other world of pain. It's brutal for a while, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. Just don't push through the pain barrier too much, don't push yourself too far. We don't want to end up overdoing it and hurting ourselves, so just watch out and be careful. So thank you once again for watching. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also click the like button. I'm going to have new great videos coming out every single week, so that'll help make sure that you don't miss the next one. So until I see you again, happy practicing.